and what they did that made you feel you wanted to report a complaint.
No, this is actually going back actually back over a year or so with this one officer. I've had some dealings with him on several occasions with my ex-wife. I went through a divorce and had custody of my children, and ever since I got custody of my children, my ex-wife has made several false allegations, had me arrested one time, which was went to court on and was the judge found me not guilty from a statement that one of my children had came into court and said this particular officer has been called out a couple times by my ex-wife. He's had dealings. He works this area. The first occasion that I had to deal with him was on an occasion after, my ex-wife and whatnot was with a girlfriend, where she had actually struck me and went to the hospital. And when I was trying to get her off of me, she had fell and hit her jaw. She didn't call the cops or anything, and went to the hospital. Didn't want the hospital or cops to know what she had done. She had took my truck, and the next day, me trying to get my truck back, she was at her aunt's house, and she didn't tell them anything that had went on. This officer had came out because of her family had called. She got nervous and actually said that I had hit her. First off, she had actually made a statement to the officer that she had hit me first, and he didn't arrest her. He had actually said I had a history from stuff from my ex-wife. He did not arrest her. My mom was actually a witness there when he was talking to the ex-girlfriend of mine, and she had told him that she had hit me first. Mm-hmm. And he did not arrest her.
Okay, well let me stop you there for just a moment, and we're going to come back to this. But the gist of your complaint is that this one officer, Officer Quick, is not managing these situations in a fair and impartial way.
No, he's not. He's actually went into court. He's actually made a statement to a witness of mine at a later date. Mm-hmm. A witness that I had called into court on a restraining order that I got against my ex-girlfriend, and he waited after court and made some statements to this lady that she needed to stay away from me, that I had a history. He didn't arrest the girlfriend on that occasion. She went to the state attorney's office actually after they arrested me and made a statement that, yes, she was scared and the officers were just drilling her and telling her, hey, did this happen, didn't this happen? And she actually went in later and made a statement and said, hey, he hit me first. He pushed me trying to keep me off of him. I hit him twice. I've been drinking. I was on some medication. And he didn't arrest her then. Well, later on, a second incident happened with my ex-girlfriend. He was actually called out on the scene. He pulled up, and at that time it said he saw me choking her, which was not true. Later on,
hold on. When you say he said he saw you choking her, did he put that in a police report?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And did he arrest you related to that report?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And that report was false in your opinion?
Yes, because he actually came back later. He went into, they had a dash cam, on the cameras of the cars. Mm-hmm. And before they even got a copy of that dash cam, and that night also, I said, hey, she hit me. She's hit me before. She admitted to it, and she was drinking and drunk, and I told him she had hit me that night. And when she was trying to leave, and I was trying to keep her from leaving, she hit me several times. I had marks on my eye where she had hit me. And he arrested me that night and did not arrest her, and actually went into court on the custody hearing because my ex-wife had heard of this, and my kids were at the house inside. Went into court, said he saw me choking her. Then later, at a later date, at an injunction hearing where I was getting an injunction on my ex-girlfriend, he actually came in and said that he saw me hold my hands on her chest this time, not that I was choking her, that he actually had seen me hold my hands on her chest, which he changed the story from the time before. And me and my attorney feel that it was because he actually probably watched the dash cam at that time and was like, hey, he wasn't choking her. You know, he was just restraining her, holding her. And he actually had said that night that he had that I had a Heather history. He questioned the ex-girlfriend in front of my children. My mom actually came there that night and was like, hey, why are you doing this in front of his children? Shouldn't they be outside? He actually took a checkbook and all from out of my pocket, left it in the home, which the ex-girlfriend took the next day, went and cashed a check, forged the numbers on the check and changed the numbers on the check I had signed for something else. Tried to report that. They didn't do anything about that. And he actually, later on, after an injunction hearing, waited 30 minutes after court for a witness of mine to come out because we was talking to my lawyer and the witness. Said all kinds of derogatory statements about me to that witness. I had a private investigator question that witness about this. Also, I found out at a later date that after the injunction hearing, there was a bailiff that was a customer of mine on the air conditioning business in this county. And he was actually bad-mouthing me and saying all kind of things to this customer of mine that I had a bad history, I was a bad guy, and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And actually, a customer of mine had an air conditioning problem and told me about it at a later date.
Okay, let me go over this. So, in the interactions between you and your wife, the problems you've had, he has taken her side and not taken your side, and he's been unfair in your opinion. And in the interaction between you and your girlfriend, he's done somewhat the same thing. And then beyond that, he has made statements to you about you publicly to people who are not involved that are derogatory. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And also I feel that night of the incident with my ex-girlfriend, even though she had told him before that, hey, I hit him and he was trying to keep me off of him and stuff, he repeatedly says, I've got a history, I have no convictions. Yes, there were several allegations with my ex-wife, but just like my lawyer said, whenever I got custody of my children, my ex-wife had choked my children, and I got custody of them, and ever since then, she's just tried to make allegations after allegations and try to get me in trouble to try to get the kids back.
Did she ultimately? Did she ultimately get the kids back by doing this?
Well, yeah. This is actually because of the officer went in that night the court on a custody hearing, emergency custody hearing, and actually he said, "Hell, yeah, I seen him choking her." He actually called Department of Children and Families, and also that night he actually sent an officer to where my ex-wife. She had just moved, but he sent an officer to my ex-wife's house to get her to come get the kids and wouldn't let my mother, the grandmother of the children, take the kids, which I thought was kind of unusual because how did he know where my ex-wife was living?
Okay, let me stop you there for just a minute. You do have some areas that are gray, and you do have some areas that are in black and white, and let me just focus on the ones that are in black and white. I can tell you that if he has been making these comments about you publicly, that's inappropriate and it's unprofessional conduct. I can tell you that flat out. On the other issues, you may have a false report allegation against him, but I want to get some more information. You said that there's dash cam video of him rolling up to a call at your place where he later testified that he saw you choking a woman, but in fact you were not?
Right. Well, we actually haven't seen the video, but he actually changed his statement at a later court date. He said at the custody hearing, emergency custody hearing, that he saw me choking this individual. Mm-hmm. At an injunction hearing, he changed the story, and we actually had a court reporter come in, and take this, have a report.
Did anybody call him out on that? I mean, did anybody question him about why his story was different the second time?
No, because my attorney didn't want to get into that yet. He wanted to get into my criminal hearing, because I've got criminal charges on this.
Okay, what are the criminal charges that you're facing right now?
I'm facing felony domestic violence with it's actually felony domestic violence by strangulation.
And that's on this incident that he claimed that you were choking her?
Yes.
And that is not on the videotape?
Well, we haven't seen the videotape. We actually questioned him whenever he came to court for the custody hearing. They said they hadn't come up with the video yet.